Hello, everyone. This is Natalie Armstrong-Motin, and today I'm talking to Jon Kenfield in Melbourne, Australia. Hello, Jon.
Hi, Natalie. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thanks very much for staying up late and joining me today.
My pleasure.
So, Jon, one of the things I really liked about you and your profile is right off the bat, you describe yourself as being a solutionist. I love that word. Tell me how you came about that word.
It came about around 20 odd years ago when it became increasingly clear that what we were doing with our clients, in particular family business clients, was no longer fitting comfortably into any particular model of mediation or dispute resolution as defined. And we got to the point where we seemed to be talking to people about what we were doing, and they were saying, oh, that's not mediation. And we were saying, well, we're actually doing what the client needs, and we don't really care what it's called. Eventually, the three of us working together said, well, why don't we put ourselves through our own process of working out what the hell we are doing? And maybe we need a different name because clearly everyone's very confused, and this is not working for anyone. And at the end of a 2-day process, we had come to the conclusion that all we are doing is helping people solve problems. And instead of saying you've got a dispute or you've got a claim or you've got anything of that sort, we're saying you've got a problem and we'll just take it to pieces and we'll try to solve it. And it's led us over, and that ultimately then led us to do a bit of a search and discover there was no word back in those days for somebody who simply solved problems. You could find an accountant who would deal with accounting issues, lawyer would deal with legal issues, but there was no name, no word that described somebody who just solved problems. And we wanted to simplify even the most complicated situations down to a problem needs to be solved. So we ended up coming up with, after a fairly lengthy whiteboard exercise, at that time inventing a word which we called solutionist, somebody who simply is solving problems. And we have fundamentally pushed ourselves as being solutionists ever since. And it sort of led us to, in many situations, thinking that rather than try to resolve a problem, let's try to dismantle the situation that has developed, spread the entrails out across the table, poke around amongst them, and then ultimately, once we've worked out, when you pull it all to pieces, there's actually not that much there. If you can evaporate the blockers by breaking them down to small chunks, and then just rebuild the bits that are left back into some useful shape. And there's been no cataclysmic resolution at all, but you have comprehensively solved the problem on many different levels. That's what we do.
And I really love that. And I know that one of your favorite markets to work in is for the family-owned business. Large or small, family-owned business is where you are really effective and really efficient.
Yeah, that's it's a little bit of a parallel. I have always liked to seemingly make life difficult for myself. So I've been a scuba diver for years and years, well over 40 years, and I've also been a photographer for longer than that as well. So each of those disciplines are complicated enough in themselves. So I, of course, have to throw them both together and become an underwater photographer from back in the days where you had to make your own housings because you couldn't buy them. And that led me, after I did my law degree, to being a professional diver on the oil rigs as an underwater photographer, which probably at that day was about as difficult as it got. Similarly, now having become a dispute resolver, being a chartered accountant, training initially in law, when the opportunity came up to work with families in business around 20 odd years ago, the people putting together Family Business Association were looking for somebody who understood enough about commerce, business, finance, accounting, legal issues, and could also deal with people like a psychologist or a counselor. And generally people like to do one or the other. They like to sit on the technical side of the fence or the human side of the fence. And I was quite happy dancing between the two. And that's why I ended up as a solutionist working with families in business.
I love that story. Jon Kenfield, Renaissance resolutionist.
I'll take it. Thank you.
I like that. I like that very much. Now, one thing that I really want to highlight to anyone viewing is that although you're in Melbourne, Australia, which is beautiful and fantastic, a lot of the work you do is pretty far afield, from Indonesia to, you know, a lot of different countries, a lot of different cultures. And so with technology or just, you know, the everyday Qantas flight, you're available to provide these services to an unlimited group of folk.
Absolutely. The helicopter is ready on the pad anytime. There's a problem, we'll be there.
I like that. That's a good attitude. Well, Jon Kenfield, I want to let everybody know how best to find you, and that's probably via your website at the solutionist.com.au, correct?
That's correct.
All right. So,
Solutionist.
Sorry,
just solutionist.com.au.
Solutionist.com.au, and of course I'll put that link in the description bar down below so people can simply click and find you and contact you for help with either before forming a family business, in the middle of a family business, or when an issue arises, to give you a call and have you help them out with whatever their issues might be. Jon Kenfield, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Natalie. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome. Listen, everybody, as always, if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and share it with anyone that you think might get a benefit from it. And as always, be good humans. Thanks for watching.